We're roughly a quarter of the way through 2025, I know that's crazy to think about, and we've already had some pretty big game releases, and we have even more and even bigger ones coming towards the end of the year. Yet there's one game that's been relatively smaller scale in the grand scheme of things that has come out and really just captured my full attention. I'm talking about AI Limit. So this is a post-apocalyptic action Souls-like game that's clearly taken some inspiration from, well, Souls-like, Code Vein, and of course, Nier Automata. Now this game though, it's done such a good job at carving out its own identity, and before I really start to get into this review, I know how easy it is to make fun of IGN and all those other trash tier gaming journalist sites out there, but IGN has done one of the most egregious reviews they've done in quite some time. When they gave this game a 5 out of 10, it's absolutely brain dead. If you needed more reason to hate IGN, just go read their AI Limit review. It's completely fucking stupid, in all honesty. The developers at AI Limit have developed a distinct identity using Code Vein's anime aesthetics paired with Nier Automata's atmospheric setting alongside carefully developed combat mechanics. The game stands out because it merges famous game components into a novel gameplay that creates something entirely different. The sync rate system introduces dynamic combat features to the game that differentiate it from mainstream Souls-like titles by implementing rewarding behavior for aggression and consequence-based punishment for mistakes. Havenswell stands out as more than just an atmospheric environment since it functions as a central component that explores themes about existence while tracing events of identity and memory. Orisa serves as the main character in the game who displays a shattered background while navigating an end-of-times world following synthetic creation and society exploring life and human characteristics. Lot to unpack in just that. I know. Trust me, very Nier Automata with that type of stuff. The game shows courage through narrative and gameplay development, yet struggles with some concrete implementations of its most ambitious concepts. The combat system introduces innovative gameplay mechanics, yet does provide some restricted option for players who favor spellcasting skills, which for me isn't really a big deal because I'm very simple when it comes to these games. I like Berserk, give me a big sword. The narrative with its haunting world falls short when compared to various technical problems. While lacking diverse enemy encounters, the imperfections in AI Limit prevent from achieving perfection as a game, though these issues do not diminish the promising potential this game possesses. Look, there's definitely some issues with this game, but I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil the rest of this review right here. I really like this game. But what is AI Limit actually about? Players will discover that AI Limit takes place in an abandoned remnants of Havenswell as a dying world battles against an unknown threatening power that deforms both synthetic and natural beings. Within its unstable world, players experience the synthetic Orisa as she emerges without any knowledge of her origin or reason of being. The world which welcomes Orisa shows signs of complete destruction because machines have merged with humanity to some extent and survival for everyone just seems non-existent at this stage. Orisa embarks on a learning journey while seeking understanding about existence through an intellectual expedition. Like in most Souls-like games, AI Limit provides minimal guidance to its players as it chooses to narrate its story without excessive interface. Contemporary gaming has ditched its prior emphasis on cinematic cutscenes and tutorial protocols, thus moving towards elements of an unlabeled world linked to damaged databanks and enigmatic remaining people living in cryptic ways. The game requires players to study every area and interpret the hidden meanings which exist throughout the decaying ruins of this world. The game's settings emerge as a fundamental part of the narrative conveyed by AI Limit. The former research facilities of the game have been abandoned to mechanical growth, which creates an ambient background filled with ghostly memories of past catastrophic experiments. These abandoned herbal landscapes serve as ghostly symbols of past human ventures, because every city block preserves essential fragments from vanished stories, which endure throughout a time. A world under mourning extends invitation to its players so they can question life's cause and memory significance, as well as in the world's current destiny. Yeah, this game's pretty bleak once you start looking into the lore of it. During Orisa's journey through these ravaged worlds, she discovers activities of extinct factions who have emerged in fighting for control over the defiled technologies. What were their motives? Human survival has remained an unclear motive for the factions who conducted their wars because their main pursuits seemed focused on controlling synthetic life and gaining power. Throughout the narrative, Orisa uncovers important fragments through her discoveries, which reveal an increasingly menacing reality step by step. Throughout her search to understand who she is, Orisa represents the fundamental themes in the game. The focus on artificial beings' relationship with human creators. Pretty fitting considering the times we're in these days. As Orisa completes her journey, her path leads her through understanding her place in the world and probes into the fundamental natures of beings. The tale of AI Limit follows a journey towards self-awareness that takes place during mankind's descent into oblivion when artificial sentience and artificial minds blur with human consciousness. Oh yeah, there's also like some godlike being type stuff going on as well. It's pretty out there, but it's fucking great. But more importantly, what is the gameplay like? Oh boy. It's good. AI Limit presents its crucial innovation through the sync rate mechanism, which deviates strongly from standard stamina-based gameplay. The sync rate system operates without stamina bars to control attacks because players get enhanced damage potential through successful melee strikes. The higher the sync rate develops as players maintain offensive actions, which in turn creates powerful, fulfilling strike potential. This gameplay system presents specific challenges for players to navigate. The usage of strong skilled or absorption of damage reduces the sync rate, which requires players to strategize their defense against attack. The combination of challenge and reward emerges when reckless aggression spins out of control towards the determinant in the system. So on one hand, being aggressive is the best thing you can do. On the other hand though, if you're too aggressive, they're just going to pick apart your openings and you're going to be in a far worse spot than you were before. Fast-paced aggressive gameplay in this combat system blends elements of strategic thinking that many players will find surprising. Many players find this gameplay system stands out in Souls-like because it provides depth to experts, yet creates accessibility for beginners who typically face trouble with typical resource management mechanics. The game system allows players to focus on strategic decisions without endless resource management, yet requires consistent critical thinking during combat encounters. Even the most Souls-like experienced people will encounter difficult moments in challenging boss battles if they lose control of their sync rate. And speaking of boss battles, the boss battles in this game require players to develop strategic skills along with combat abilities because their sync rate performance needs to be carefully managed during these intense battles, and these can get out of control pretty quickly. The sync rate core system in the game creates a compelling gameplay experience, yet features some performance-related problems. A few players have experienced problems integrating with the gameplay system, mainly from defensive or magic-based players. This combat gameplay element delivers active diversity between battles, which produces fresh dynamic encounters for each encounter. Elevating the combat system of AI Limit is its player customization, which enables character management of the protagonist of Orisa through modifiable components, such as you can change her head, which is like her hair as well, and her body. That's pretty much it in terms of customization for appearance, but this does also affect, certain stats as well, so it's pretty good, and you can get pretty creative with it as well. AI Limit features cel-shaded anime aesthetics that oppose the ruined environments with decayed urban architecture. Orisa's original art style presents slick animated figures against the gloomy, disintegrating Heavenswell environment. Her stylish cybernetic appearance belongs to the anime-inspired visuals that contrast perfectly with the ruined buildings and frightening industrial machines that remained after flourishing society's collapse. The contrasting design of pulsating, vivid characters facing a dystopian world produces an attractive visual conflict that defies the mechanical reasoning but succeeds in its practice. AI Limit gains its uniqueness from its fusion of cheerful decorative elements with dark, tainted environments, which establishes a recognizable profile, especially when compared to other Souls-like and post-apocalyptic games out there. Visual storytelling in the game receives excellent support through its audio design. Each element in the minimalistic soundtrack serves as a deliberate purpose, from transitional moments and active set scenes during exploration. The ruined machines create faint metallic noises while Orisa hears a rumbling structures in the distance during her quest. The urban spaces remain horribly silent except for random noises of falling mechanized machines, which maintain an atmosphere of consistent tension for players. The damaged city's sonic background, ventilating wind between urban remains, and distant electrical noise machines combine to create a realistic experience of exploration in this dysfunction dystopian world. So this is the part where I like to talk about what I think are the biggest pros and cons of this game. The first thing I'm going to mention in terms of pros is the price point. It's a AA priced game and you're going to get good value for your money right there. But moving on from that, the innovative combat. Through the sync rate mechanics, the traditional stamina system gets revived to bring dynamic and satisfactory battles into the game. Playing offensively becomes rewarding through its system, which simultaneously demands players handle resources within caution to prevent unnecessary risks. Each combat encounter becomes deeper because the system of depth enabling challenging and unique fights. So AI Limit presents a Souls-like experience with its deep rewarding content while maintaining simplicity compared to standard Souls-like barrier of entry. The game offers complicated systems that advanced players will enjoy, but new people can easily learn. The game finds its appeal through finding equal space between difficulty and new player accessibility, making it suitable for people who are just starting to get into Souls-like games. And I can personally tell you that's true because I'm not really much of a Souls-like guy myself. I've only got a handful under my belt, hoping to have quite a lot more done by the end of the year though. However, neither here nor there for this review. The next positive is that this game displays an uncommon aesthetic which merges post-apocalyptic landscapes with anime-style character appearances. The artistic expression created by Orisa establishes a distinctive visual identity for AI Limit, which differentiates it, say, from other titles in the genre because of its contrast with the forsaken and broken landscapes. Cell shading techniques help the game create an attention-grabbing aesthetic alongside ruined environmental design, which helps build a very haunting mood. The customization freedom when battling helps players develop multiple combat approaches. The customization options for Orisa's headgear and body components let players achieve their preferred combat style through the ability modification. The self-designed customization enables players to conduct tests when developing their protagonist character while providing some deep personal satisfaction. Or underwear. And finally, the game's phenomenal world development leads to substantial environmental storytelling, which simulates players' need to investigate the whole created universe. The mythology behind the game combines careful developed environments and enigmatic dialogue with pieces of forgotten memories to present an elaborate storyline which needs player discovery. Havenswell's disturbing structure, along with its environment, creates a narrative about an extinct society that seamlessly delivers concepts about self-identity and memory preservation. And now moving on to the more negative sides of this game. So at launch, AI Limit was plagued by some launch bugs, including notably glitchy first boss encounter that left some players incredibly frustrated. While the developers quickly released patches to address the issues, technical problems like spotty lock-on mechanics during boss battles and occasional frame rate drops persist for some players. These bugs, though not game-breaking, can disrupt the flow of combat and distract from an otherwise engaging experience, reminding players that the game's technical foundations could still use more refinement. I personally haven't had any crashes with this game, but I have heard from people that have. It seems like it's in a much better state now, but as always, we can never take that to pretend that there was not some issues at launch. Modern gaming. And the game's enemy variety does leave something to be desired as you progress. While the initial encounters introduce some intriguing and diverse foes, the repetition of enemy types becomes more apparent as players delve deeper into the game. This lack of variety can lead to a sense of monotony, particularly during extended play sessions where fighting the same few creatures over and over dulls the sense of discovery and tension. And despite its intriguing narrative and world building, AI suffers from very awkward voice acting and some stiff cut scenes that undermine the emotional weight of key moments. The delivery of dialogue at times feels offbeat or disconnected, which diminishes the emotional impact of important revelations and character interactions. The lack of polish in this presentation makes it harder for players to become fully immersed in the story, especially when compared to otherwise polished world gameplay systems. And something here that I don't know if is really a con or a pro, but this is just more of a Souls-like genre thing in general. A lot of these games, and AI Limit is no different. It has incredible lore and a really cool story, but you actively have to go out of your way to look for it. You have to read all the notes and all that type of stuff to get a true sense of what's going on. And in AI Limit, when you do get a true sense of what's going on, it's really, really interesting. Or you could just go watch a lore video on YouTube. AI Limit creates an impression as one of the most distinctive, captivating Souls-like action RPGs that I have experienced throughout this whole year. Despite some technical issues, The game contains an inspired core that distinguishes itself from the numerous Souls-like wannabe titles in the market. Damn near everything in this game I like, from the sync rate system, which gives players new ways to strategize during boss fights, the customization, the aesthetic, the world. I like so much about this game. This game presents its narrative through the explorations and themes about its identity, while examining relationships between human memory and artificial intelligence and higher beings, and so much nuance is going on in this game, which is where it gets a lot of its Nier Automata type of inspiration from. The Place of Heavenswell presents both eerily charming qualities along with meaningful exploration. So players who gravitate towards games like Code Vein and Nier Automata will discover multiple distinctive qualities in this game. AI Limit delivers a game that combines philosophical depth with high-octane action, taking inspiration from the top titles in this genre. Of all the games I played this year, AI Limit maintains a top position for me. It's such an intriguing and beautiful and just well-designed and well-thought-out game that is not getting enough exposure. It doesn't help that this game released the same day as Kazan the First Berserker, which I still haven't got around to playing. And as of this recording, we've had the Oblivion remaster drop, there's Clair Obscur 33, we got Monster Hunter, and there's some big titles still to come out. I mean, Doom's coming up, and then there's GTA 6. There's so much coming out this year that I feel like this game might potentially get buried. But when we look back at the end of the year, I'm gonna have to put this game up there as one of my top favorites. AI Limit is a game that I really think everyone should at least try. It's AA pricing, it's just such a distinct, beautiful, great game that I really want to go back and play more of. I want to do my New Game Plus run. I want to try different builds. I want to do, there's one boss fight towards the end, which is an amazing boss fighter. She absolutely kicked my ass for like over an hour, and then it all just clicked. The parrying in this game, yeah, it's a little bit overpowered, but fuck, it's so satisfying. Everything about this game is just so good. But it's unfortunate with its release timing, but the developers should be pretty proud of the game they've made here. And to tie it back to the start of this video, retards at IGN, their review of this game is why no one takes them seriously, and they just exist to be mocked at this stage. But with all that said, appreciate everybody for tuning into this review. If you've been playing AI Limit, let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Be sure to like, subscribe, share the video, all that good stuff. And if you really enjoyed this video, consider becoming a member, as it does help the production of these videos, and then we can get them out a little bit quicker for you all. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic day. Play us out, Nazma. I just want a Japanese and a Latina woman to spit on me and tell me I've been a good boy. All right.